Putin's invasion of Ukraine has awakened a sleeping giant that he never saw coming. Germany, once mocked as Europe's military weakling, is transforming into a war machine that could become Putin's worst nightmare. After decades of neglect, the country that once dominated European battlefields is preparing for a comeback that will shake the foundations of modern warfare. This isn't just military spending. This is a complete revolution that's turning Germany from Europe's laughingstock into its strongest defender. Before Putin invaded Ukraine, Germany's military was the butt of jokes across Europe. In 2019, The Spectator called it a complete joke. And they weren't exaggerating. The evidence was embarrassing. Germany had to ground its entire fleet of 53 Tiger helicopters because of technical problems they couldn't fix. The country that once built the world's most feared war machines couldn't keep choppers in the air. This wasn't just bad luck. Germany's military had been falling apart for years. Only 30% of their Navy helicopters actually worked. Just 1/3 of their fighter jets could fly. More than half of their armored vehicles were broken down. Of 6 submarines, only 3 could leave port. For a country with Europe's largest economy, this was pathetic. Germany had become a paper tiger, all reputation, no bite. Putin was watching. He saw these reports and smiled. When he planned his invasion of Ukraine, he knew Germany couldn't stop him. Their military was too weak, too broken, too useless to matter in a real war. He was about to learn how wrong he could be. Germany's military weakness wasn't entirely by accident. After World War II, the world made sure Germany could never again become a military threat. Treaties limited Germany to just 370,000 active military personnel. No more than 345,000 could serve in the Army and Air Force combined. The country was banned from developing nuclear weapons, even though they had the money and knowledge to build them. For decades, these restrictions made sense. The world remembered what a powerful German military could do, better to keep them weak and peaceful. Between 1945 and 1990, when Germany was split into East and West, military development was severely limited. Even after reunification, the restrictions remained. Germany seemed content to stay weak, spending little on defense and letting their equipment rust. This created a dangerous situation. Germany had grown comfortable hiding behind NATO and American protection. They thought the Cold War was over, that major wars were a thing of the past. Putin was planning to teach them otherwise. When Russian tanks rolled into Ukraine in February 2022, Germany faced a terrifying reality check. The war they thought could never happen was happening just next door. Suddenly, all those broken helicopters and grounded jets mattered. If Putin could invade Ukraine so easily, what would stop him from attacking NATO countries? What would stop him from targeting Germany itself? The German government realized they had made a massive mistake. Their false sense of security had left them defenseless against the most dangerous threat Europe had faced since World War II. Putin had calculated that Germany's weakness would work in his favor. He thought they would send some money to Ukraine and make angry speeches, but do nothing serious to stop him. He was wrong. Instead of intimidating Germany, Putin had accidentally triggered something far more dangerous for Russia, a German military revival. Germany's response was swift and massive. In 2024, they spent $88.5 billion on defense, a 28% increase from the previous year and an 89% jump since 2015. But this was just the beginning. Germany created a special $105 billion fund specifically for military upgrades. This wasn't normal budget money. This was emergency spending to prepare for war. The results were immediate. Germany sent over $14.3 billion in military aid to Ukraine, becoming the second largest donor after the United States. They launched 97 new military projects, buying everything from Leopard tanks to submarines to Patriot missiles. In March 2025, Germany made a decision that changed everything. Their parliament voted to remove the debt restrictions that had limited military spending for decades. With a 2/3 majority, they freed themselves to spend whatever was necessary for defense. The numbers were staggering: $547 billion dedicated to defense and infrastructure improvements. This wasn't just buying new weapons, this was rebuilding Germany's entire military foundation. The debt restriction removal was historic. Previously, Germany could only borrow for defense spending up to 0.35% of their economy. Anything more had to come from existing funds. Now they can spend up to 1% of their economy without any borrowing limits. For a country with Europe's largest economy, this means virtually unlimited military spending. Chancellor Friedrich Merz explained the decision simply: Germany had felt a false sense of security for too long. The sleeping giant was finally waking up, but Germany went even further. In April 2025, they triggered a European Union emergency clause that allowed even more spending. Under this rule, Germany can increase military spending by 1.5% of their economy annually for 4 years. This wasn't just about Germany anymore. They were preparing to become Europe's military protector, the shield that would stop Putin from expanding beyond Ukraine. With money no longer a limitation, Germany began building a military that would have made their World War II generals proud, but this time for defense, not conquest. The shopping list was impressive. New Leopard tanks, advanced submarines, Patriot missile systems, artillery shells, warships, spy satellites, and artificial intelligence systems. Germany wasn't just buying more weapons, they were buying smarter weapons. The AI investment was particularly significant. Germany planned to develop automated drones and smart defense systems that could fight Russian forces while keeping German soldiers safer. They also focused on the basics. Modern wars consume massive amounts of ammunition, and Germany had learned from Ukraine that running out of shells could mean losing battles. Their new spending included huge purchases of artillery ammunition and missiles. But the most important purchase wasn't equipment, it was people. Germany currently has 180,000 active soldiers. By 2031, they plan to increase this to 203,000. That might not sound like much, but these numbers only tell part of the story. The real plan is much more ambitious. Germany wants to recruit 200,000 reservists to add to their current 60,000. Combined with active forces, this would give Germany a potential army of 400,000 soldiers. This expansion requires serious money. German soldiers earn about $38,280 per year on average. Adding 23,000 new active soldiers and 140,000 new reservists means spending over $1 billion annually just on salaries. Germany is also changing how they recruit. In November 2024, they began collecting data on all military-age citizens and created questionnaires for 18-year-olds to assess their interest in military service. The message was clear: Germany was preparing for a war that might require every citizen to defend their country. Germany isn't just building up at home, they're positioning forces where they would matter most in a war with Russia. The most significant move is stationing 5,000 German soldiers in Lithuania, one of the Baltic states that would face Russia's first attacks in any NATO war. This isn't just symbolic, it's a tripwire that guarantees Germany would be involved from day one of any Russian expansion. Germany also sent a frigate to the Red Sea, where it became the first German naval vessel to fire weapons in combat since World War II. This seemingly small action represented a massive psychological shift. Germany was willing to use military force again. These deployments serve a dual purpose. They show Putin that Germany is serious about defense, and they give German forces real-world experience they had lacked for decades. Modern warfare isn't just about tanks and missiles, it's about information. Germany is investing heavily in spy satellites and intelligence-gathering capabilities that will give them eyes on Russian activities across Eastern Europe. This intelligence sharing with NATO allies makes the entire alliance stronger. Germany's new satellites can track Russian troop movements, missile deployments, and military preparations in real time. The intelligence investment also supports Ukraine directly. Better German intelligence means better targeting for Ukrainian forces and advance warning of Russian attacks. While building their own military, Germany continues massive support for Ukraine. The appointment of Johann Vadeful as foreign minister sent a clear message to Putin: Germany's support for Ukraine will only increase. Vadeful believes Putin's ambitions extend far beyond Ukraine. He sees the war as testing whether Europe will allow classic wars of conquest to return. Germany's answer is a resounding no. This support serves Germany's interests perfectly. Every day Ukraine fights successfully is another day Germany has to prepare for potential Russian expansion. Every Russian tank destroyed in Ukraine is one less tank that might threaten Germany. Germany's military revival isn't happening in isolation. They're encouraging other European nations to increase their own defense spending and coordinating continent-wide preparations for potential conflict. The EU emergency clause Germany triggered allows other European nations to increase their military spending as well. While countries like Spain and Italy face budget constraints, Germany's leadership is inspiring a broader European military awakening. This represents a fundamental shift in European politics. For decades, European nations relied on American protection. Now, with Germany leading the way, Europe is preparing to defend itself. From Putin's perspective, Germany's military revival represents his worst-case scenario. Instead of intimidating Europe into submission, his Ukraine invasion has created exactly the opposite result. The weak, divided Europe that Putin expected to face has been replaced by a continent rapidly militarizing under German leadership. The paper tiger has become a real threat. Germany's defense spending could soon rival Russia's. With NATO coordination and advanced Western technology, a revived German military would be far more sophisticated than Russian forces. Most importantly, Germany's revival is happening while Russia is weakening itself in Ukraine. Every month of continued fighting drains Russian resources while German military strength grows. There's deep irony in Germany's military comeback. The last time Germany militarized rapidly, it conquered most of Europe. This time, they're militarizing to prevent conquest. Germany's leaders understand this irony. They've seen the signs of expansionism that their own country once displayed. Now they're determined to be on the right side of history. This historical awareness makes Germany's revival even more significant. They know what unchecked military aggression looks like, and they're prepared to stop it. Putin's invasion aimed to show Russian strength and European weakness, but it sparked the opposite. Germany, once dismissed as militarily weak, is rapidly rebuilding with modern weapons, expanded budgets, and renewed resolve. The complacency that left it unprepared is gone, replaced by determination to stop future wars of conquest. Putin wanted a divided Europe, but instead he faces a continent rearming, led by a Germany that knows the cost of unchecked aggression. The sleeping giant has awakened, and awakening it may be his greatest mistake. And Putin may soon discover that waking it was the biggest mistake of his career.